This is lesson 5, I think, in the volume unit. It's on cylinders and spheres. So before we start, there's a couple things I want you to change on your formula sheet. So for the cylinder, I want you to rewrite the formula for the surface area of the cylinder as the following. 2 times the radius squared plus the radius times the height, all times pi. Okay, I want you to change that. And then for the sphere, I want you to change the surface area to 4r squared and then pi at the end. This is just going to make it a little bit easier for you guys to type into your calculator because Ms. Swenson and I, we're going to want you guys to keep this in your answer just because it's a little cleaner. But we also want you to remember that whatever you get for this part is actually a little more than triple the amount because pi is 3.14159, blah, 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 blah. Then I want you to change the volume formula for these two also. I would like you to rewrite the cylinder formula as r squared times h times pi. And then for the sphere, I would like you to rewrite it as 1/3 r squared h times pi. The other thing you could do here, if you would like, is you could write it as r squared h divided by 3 times pi. Okay, it's up to you, whichever you prefer. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So for cylinders, what we are going to need to do is calculate the radius, the height, in order to find the surface area. So they told us that the diameter is 16, and please remember that diameter is all the way across, through the center and all the way across. So that means this is 16. Now the radius, if you'll remember, is from the center to the edge. So if the full distance is 16, that means that the radius is 8. Okay, radius is 8. We did 16 divided by 2. We'll say inches because why not? All right, so then the height, they already gave that to us. The height is 15 inches. And then the surface area. So the surface area formula I asked you to write down for the cylinder is 2r squared plus rh times pi. So for us, what that's going to look like is 2 times r squared, means 8 squared, plus 8 times 15, and then a pi at the end. So I'm going to type this into the calculator. 2 times 8 squared plus 8 times 15. Close that parentheses and then close the larger one. And we end up with 368, but we still have this pi on. So it's 368 pi. And then the units are the inches. So this number is actually about, just so you kind of are aware, this number is actually about 1,156.11 inches squared. Okay, just so you can really kind of understand how much it takes to cover this cylinder. That would be like how much aluminum it would take to make a pop can or a soup can. It would take 1,156.11 square inches. All right, and then the volume formula is r squared times h times pi. That's what I asked you to rewrite. So r squared, r is 8, times the height is 15, and then a pi on the end. So we're going to go 8 squared times 15, hit enter, and we get 960 pi, and this is inches cubed because it's volume. Now what that number is about 3,015.93 cubic inches. That means you could fit about 3,000 cubic inches of soup or pop into that cylinder. It's a pretty big cylinder. All right, so then for a sphere, they told us that the diameter is 12 inches. So that would be like if you cut a basketball in half, the distance across would be 12 inches or 1 foot. So from the center through the center, that is 12. That means that the radius from here to here would be 6. So we do 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we'll go 6 inches. And then the surface area for a sphere, I asked you guys to write down 4r squared times pi. So for us, that's 4 times r squared is 6 squared times pi. Four times 6 squared. Sorry, you guys. And we get 144 pi. And that's inches squared. Now what that is actually is about 452.39 inches cubed. Oh, sorry, inches squared. And then last is our volume. So the volume of a sphere is 4/3. Oh shoot, I just realized I had you guys write down this formula incorrectly. I wrote down the formula for a cone. I apologize. This one should be 4/3 r cubed times pi, or 4r cubed divided by 3 times pi. Either way is fine. I apologize, you guys. That was my bad. So for volume on this one, we've got 4/3 r cubed times pi, which means 4/3 times 6 cubed times pi. Which is 288 pi inches cubed, which in reality is about 904.78 cubic inches. That's how big that ball is, that basketball or whatever. Okay, you guys have an assignment. Make sure you know which ones to do and which ones not to do. Sorry about that bell. I feel terrible. If you heard the bell and you know what time it happened at on the video, can you just tell me and I'll chop it out? Tell me by commenting on the video, I should say, or just tell me in class. Thanks, guys.